Can't believe it. Players are actually upset about Toons. Now make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. You know, it's very interesting when we see the OCG community getting worked up about cards. Now, last week, we got the final 2 Toon cards, one of which gives you the ability to peek into your opponent's hand and basically make it so that one card in your opponent's possession isn't going to be able to, do anything, which by our standards isn't too crazy. But what the OCG's not happy about is it's kind of like the infinite resource pool that the Toon deck kind of has access to. Some of the biggest and scariest end boards that Toons get, I believe, involve like the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. You get access, yeah, I know, right? Baron to Floor, and some other little crazy bits and pieces that this deck is just capable of getting access to. Now, you're probably, it also gets Baron to Floor, Teller, and of course, Borreload Savage as well. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how do Toons get access to all of this? You're like, Robbie, you're trolling me, right? Like, you're telling me that Toons can end on like 3 negates on top of like all this other crazy stuff? You should go watch some, go take some time, go look at Lithium's video on Toons. Go look at some of like Shark YGO Pro. Go take a look at some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Replay channels out there. And actually take a look at the things that the Toon deck is capable of doing. Because I didn't believe it. Now, there was a Limbo format tournament for no ban list, and Toons ended up winning it. Now, you're probably like, all right, now you're just trolling. How did Toons win when everything is at 3? Well, contrary to what you might believe, you are able to attack with the Blue Eyes Ultimate Toon Dragon directly, have the field spell blink the Blue Eyes Ultimate Toon Dragon, it comes back as a new monster, and it can attack directly again. That is 9,000 damage, bypassing anything that your opponent has established on the field. Now, if that's not saying something about, a deck truly having massive capabilities like this, it's crazy. And also, we've made enough generic cards that now the generic cards are becoming a problem. See, like, Toons having access to Dark Magician was just an old negative hindsight. But then when they make Dark Magician Destruction, well, suddenly, hey, this now comes into play. Getting the ability to tuck back resources was another interesting thing. Now, the mind games, the ability to scan through, your opponent's cards, I feel like that was like the last little thing that they could do. As a Toon player, and I think most Toon players will kind of agree with this, one of your greatest weaknesses is you are playing Toons. Like, there is not really a good, strong answer to this. But Konami said, what if we take all of the weaknesses of Toons and we streamline them? But in addition to, you're able to use all of the current existing good stuff. And that's how this has come into. Now, I specifically mentioned talking about how Japan players have been, pretty upset about this. And I found this is interesting. One of the posts was talking about if you're running a Next Play Cup, you absolutely have to ban all Toon-related stuff to even get it started. Somehow, it's fine to turn a blind eye to every single participant beating each other with the same cards, but it turns into a situation where the mirror can only win by going first, then shelling out 1,500 yen to play rock, paper, scissors is a total ripoff. I get it. I do. It's I'm not gonna say that like Toons are gonna be tier 0, because that's what the Doomer clock is. It's crazy to think about. Would we really be upset with having a Toon tier 0 meta? No, like truly, like, I mean, a tier 0 meta. Whew, That's what I truly have to think about it. It's stinky and it's delicious. It would be Konami making Toons a Tier 0 format, I think, would be truly the pinnacle of this game. It would showcase that they can really make custom cards and really push the agenda on these particular engines to the top. Now, do I think this deck having all the generic access in the world is probably a problem? Yes and no. The OCG has very much proven that they want cards like Baron de Fleur. They want Borreload Savage. They for some reason want these negates to exist. And I also understand that Borreload Savage has been a great facilitator for the spellcaster decks. Being able to, bring up the Artemis as an equip and be able to basically, do the fusion while still maintaining the Borreload Savage is very important. It's unfortunately become the deck's identity at this point, and that's another topic for, conversation is like, do cards like Borreload Savage, if we made less powerful versions that would be playable within these archetypes, would that fix the problems of these more generic cards? And truthfully, I think the answer is it probably would fix a lot of the problems. Because the topic of conversation has been, it's Toons having access to all of this broken stuff is the problem. And I get that. But that becomes just a symptom of Yu-Gi-Oh! At this point, where you've given too much, or you've allowed too many generic resources to kind of exist. I do know that we're still a little ways off from seeing Toons actually come out. And to the OCG players that, might be stumbling in here and watching this, I don't think seeing Toons as the all-powerful, crazy deck that it is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think to the players that have been waiting for, the day that, Toons become a real deck, I think this one's for them. And it's crazy that, we're already past the 25-year celebration for this game. And now is the place where Konami's going, let's make Toons, meta. I would have loved to have seen Toons be a deck for the World Championship. It's kind of sad because, that's a little bit of a miss on Konami's behalf. Based on the release time of the Revolution booster, because we're not going to see that in the TCG until much later this year, or even maybe next year. There could be a point where the Japan wants to push Toons in 2027. That we've seen it before, where certain decks could stick around, but unfortunately, it does feel like Toons are going to kind of miss that little bit of a window to be competitive. You've also got to remember, Witchcrafter didn't get this level of luxury. Toons are just kind of special. You've also got to remember, you have the Toon rulings as well. You can't attack your opponent directly if there's a Toon monster on the field. Do all Toon monsters have that clause? Does the Blue Eyes Ultimate Toon Dragon actually bypass that clause that it allows your Toon monsters to attack directly? But if there's a Toon monster present on the field, does that... I think I'm reading too much into the anime side of this, but also, as one of the OCG players said, if it's just going to turn into Blue Eyes Ultimate Toon Dragon Mirrors, what a great time to be in the game. That would definitely be a good couple of months that I would absolutely love to see in this game. And I'm kind of all about it. So, do you guys think that Toons are getting blown out of proportion? Or do you think that the deck is truly as much of a monster as it seems like it could potentially be? Please leave a comment down below to what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.